Is it spring yet?
No. That water last night was...
Okay. Let's see here. What am I missing? Yep, that's one of the things I'm missing. A second here. Let's see here. Morning, Sarah. I am so over winter. I'm missing viewers. I don't mind missing viewers. Let's see here. Now I know I just had. Yep, it's in my pocket. And I'll tell you what, with yesterday's thaw, it's still running pretty good. Pretty good river running on out here. But it was flooding, the water was going in the shop and everything. Looks like I got it drained on out. Let me take a quick look over here. Oh yeah. Yeah, the shop area is all drained on out now. Morning, TJ. Let's see here. Let me sit down here. Enjoy my morning coffee. And I'll tell you what, morning coffee is some homemade chocolate chip cookies that my wife made. Oh man, they are simply the best, nice and chewy. Mmm. Morning, Nancy. Okay, now I can sit down and read chat. No, we didn't get any snow. All we got was ice. And it was a heck of an ice storm. Half-inch thick of ice everywhere. Airballs, Tim. Yeah, it was bad. A friend of mine, I did put out that video. I don't know how many of y'all saw that video that I put on now, but his wife's got a spinal bifida. She's most of the time in a wheelchair most of the time because of it. She can get out of the wheelchair a little bit here and there, but not much. But anyway, he had gone to town, get gas for the generator and stuff, and all of a sudden the tree started snapping. He couldn't make it back home. And his wife's at home with the power was out at their place. That's why he was going to town to get gas for the generators. And their landline was down too. That was already down. You know, but it's just because of the ice storm. But then they was able to keep the roads up open to that point. But then then those trees started snapping and stuff all over the place. It closed down his 20 miles of road to get to his place. He called up the sheriff's department. He called up everybody trying to figure out a way to get on up there. They said, nope, we're not even going on up in that area. It's a war zone up there. And just from my place out to the highway, here on a 1 mile stretch, there was 30 trees down, had to cut our way through. But yeah, it was a nightmare. So currently I'm working on ways to fix. So he has no cell service up there where he's at. Now, if he climbs up to the back of his property, he can get cell service up on top of the hill. But his wife can't climb up there. There ain't no way that she can go on up there. Yeah, so I'm trying to work on getting cell service for them on their property somehow, some way. If any of y'all have any suggestions on what a booster router they should get, because like up on top of the hill, on the back of their property, which they have 6 acres on the back of the property, they can get cell service at the top of the hill up there, but they don't have it down at the bottom of the property where they're at. What type of a router would you get outside to how we can work and figure out how high we got to go to get the signal, but knowing what router or booster or whatever, what would be the device that we need to get to put up there so he can grab that cell service up in the air and throw it down to his house. Morning, Junkyard. You got some new videos? Cool, TJ. Has spring sprung? No. It is a little warmer here, but it's still a disaster out around here right now. Well, location is where you put it at, depending. I mean, Sarah, you a booster can't help if it can't grab the signal. Okay, yeah, and I'm very much aware of that part of it. You have to be able at least to have something. You have to have something to boost. So the question is, the booster that you got, were you getting it up high enough to grab a signal? Because the booster won't boost nothing if it doesn't have the signal. Now, Sarah, I want you to try this right where you're at one of these times on a nice day. If you have 2 cell phones, I watched a video of a guy that was out camping, and on the campground, out of the campground, nobody had campsite. It had cell service. Nobody did. And no, I can relate to this story because when I was out hunting, if I needed cell service to call for help or something, I would drive around, find a place where I'd get maybe a half a bar or something, and get on out and climb up on top of my pickup. Then I'd have 2 or 3 bars, and I'd be able to make my calls. So getting where you can get a signal. So what this guy did at the campground where he had no signal, he took a rock and tied it to a string and threw it up in a tree as high as he could, up over some way up to the high branches. And then of course the rock came on down. He tied his cell phone to the rock and pulled his cell phone. He turned the Bluetooth on to his Bluetooth earpiece, and then he pulled that cell phone way up in the air, sat down by the campfire, and called his mom at home. Now obviously down below there was nothing to boost. There was nothing for him to grab, but he was able to get his cell phone up in the tree high enough. So that's what I'm looking at. Is I need to know which one would be the best router to get. I'm also aware that I have to be, if there's no signal up there to grab, then there's no signal to grab. But I do know that at the back of the property there is a signal to grab. But give that a try, Sarah. See if you can take your phone out on your property, your cell phone, if you have one, and see if you can get it up in the air and grab service up in the air. Then you know if it's worthwhile to do. What you got to do to get a boost. Oh. But the thing is, I don't know anything about these things. I know I got a booster for my daughters, and I never have got it set up permanently. It does help some, and hers isn't even set up permanently. That's Washington for Indiana farmland. Cool. Oh. That is an option. Would be. And I've been trying to talk him into getting what's that Tesla satellite? That's not the name of it, but you know who I'm talking about. Um, I've been trying to talk him into getting their satellite, but that would be an option, possibly. But I'm not sure how it'd work. He's on the north side of the mountain, and there are trees all over the place. So whether he could get a satellite signal from his place or not, I don't know. Starlink, yeah. I've been trying to have him check into Starlink there. Yes, yeah. I've been trying to talk him that route, but I don't know. I do know that they do make some boosters. Yeah, I do believe that most of the boosters that you can get, that they're you're throwing money into the air, and most of them. That's why I'm hoping I could find somebody that might know something about it rather than, you know, uh, nickel and dime my way through it. Don't want to go that route. Yeah, Starlink is relatively new, and it does have its drawbacks to it too. Good morning, Leo. But I think if they can pick up the cell phone signal up there and then boost it on down to the house, I think that would be their best route. A couple handheld radios, yeah, yeah, that would be an option. But you know, I want something that's convenient for his wife to be able to grab and reach on out and say, "Hey, I'm up here alone. My husband hasn't called back. I don't know what's happened to him." The cell service it works best when you least need it. Yep, it sure does. Well, see, that's the deal. See, I don't know anything about this, Sarah, so I might be asking for the wrong thing. I don't know if it's a booster that I want, or it's I just need or if it's a router and an outdoor router that I need to grab. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just an outside router that I need to grab that I can put up in a tree to grab the signal, and then I could access its Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's the thing that's it's difficult for me to do the research when I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know the terminology to use to ask what I'm to because I don't know if I should be asking about routers, boosters, or what. It might be something completely different, and I'm just calling it by the wrong name. No, I got this running nose this morning. I get it every morning, pretty much. And get up and come out, have coffee, a cigarette, and my nose just starts off blowing. In an hour or so, it'll calm down. I'll go back to normal again. Right, right. And there is a signal up there, junkyard. Whether I get to the signal will be a huge question. That'll be something totally separate. Um, because, like I said, we go to the back of the property, which is the elevation's 100 feet higher in the back of his property, and he can get a signal from clear back there. So he could put something right up there and run a cable, 600 feet of cable back to his house, something like that if need be. I'm thinking that we can put a 30 or 40 foot tower in, and I got ways of experimenting with that with the cell phone to see if I can pick up the signal. But what device do I use? If I know the signal's there, what do I use to grab it with? Nah, I just use my shirt sleeves there, Nancy. Yesterday's sock, or yeah, that too. Good morning, JR1. Yeah, I thought that was pretty creative. That one guy though, he actually what he used his fishing pole with a heavy weight and cast it up over a tall tree and then pulled his cell phone on up. Had the Bluetooth on. Sat by the campfire and rang up his mom and was talked to her on the cell phone that way. Pretty creative. A weather balloon. There you go. I could use one of them to get up there high enough. Tristan Johnson. Good morning. And tether it. Yep. Mm. um, Yeah, I understand that there, Sarah, but I'll tell you what, I think I'd much rather tire chain up my tires and civilization sucks. No, I have to admit, I do like living in an area where I can have cell service. Satellite could be an option here. I've had satellite here before, but it's satellite internet is just too costly for us. So that for me, it's not an option. Um, Cable is not an option at all here. It's not available. Having cell phone internet that gives us all the entertainment we need here. Yeah, 6.5 and 6 3/4 of woods. They went from stealing hubcaps to stealing. I heard that. Now they got to lock up the underwear in the stores now. Yeah, satellite did suck. During the wintertime, we'd get a heavy rain or a heavy snowstorm. The satellite would go down. You wouldn't be able to pick up a signal. The heavy rain, I'd go out there and put Rain-X. I'd put Rain-X on my satellite to help stop the rain blocking it. And actually, it really did help. And then when it was snowing, the snow would start to stick to it. Then you spray it with something like Spam. You know that spray on Spam. You spray that on there, and that kept the snow from sticking to it. But then summertime would come, and all the bugs would stick to it. So then you'd have to wash all the Spam and all the bugs out there so you can get a signal again. Yeah, well, see, that's the deal. My phone company that I use is it's called Visible, and Verizon is the parent company. So we use all the Verizon towers and stuff, and it's cheap using it go through Visible. Our internet and cell phone service is really cheap, and it truly is unlimited too. The amount that we get, we don't have no restrictions at all. We got in at $25 a month. Now for new people coming on in, I think it's $35 a month now. Yeah, well, that's what we're looking on into. See, when I go up to his place, I don't have internet at his place, or cell phone or internet service, either one. But I have gone up on the hill and gotten signal. And so that's where I'll just have to determine that by his house how high up I got to put a tower in order to be able to collect a signal to try to bring down to his house. Because they truly, I mean, seriously, I mean, my cell phone internet, it's unlimited internet, unlimited tethering, um, unlimited hotspots. I mean, I could have as many items as I want to hotspot onto my from my phone to hook up to it. It doesn't try to restrict any of that. My internet speeds, well, you always say that they're super slow, but they're good enough for me to watch movies and videos on my laptop. Can I watch them in 4000p or whatever? No, I watch most everything in 360. But it's very adequate for us. I can get the news this way and emails, YouTube video, upload, download videos, even live. I'm live on my internet. I mean, my internet speeds is usually between 1 and 5 megabytes, upload and download. Usually, I got about 1 to 1.5 upload and 3 to 5 download. Yeah, he might have to go to a walkie-talkies, but man, in these mountainous areas like this here, where they wind back and forth and stuff like that, walkie-talkies really are not very good. Not very dependable. Ham radios, handheld ham radio might be the best route for them. Yeah, but they don't bother nothing. And people make a big to do over bears and cougars, but they're pretty much harmless. Yeah, see that's the deal. Maybe if he got himself a home based CB or something or a radio that he can have one in his car too. And a friend of mine, I don't know how much it cost or anything. They didn't have to have a radio license for it, but had a. It wasn't walkie-talkie, but it was some type of radio frequency that they was able to purchase with the phone, and she could call her husband through this. It was a cell phone, but it also operated as a radio too, and was able to call over the airway. It was like being on a CB, and it would reach way on out. And she was able to call her husband that way. But I don't know if that worked on the airways or if it worked on the internet signal that was there. Um, because if it took internet signal, then that wouldn't do any good. Yeah, my brother really enjoys ham radio. I never could pass the test. I never could learn the Morse code. I might be able to tell you. I probably could learn the Morse code now, but now that I have time to really study it and try to learn it, I could probably do it now. But my brother was really into that. you would inside, girl. Okay. I need a cup of coffee anyway. The heat, it was getting cold out there. Let's see here. I need to grab some more tissues. Okay, let's see here. Get myself all situated again. Have you ever noticed that blowing your nose into paper towels is like blowing your nose into 80 grit sandpaper? Yeah, that would probably be the best bet. If they would probably have to take out a bunch of trees though in order to work to get the to be able to see the satellite. Don't remember any of the Morse code now. Yeah. See, I don't know any of that, Nancy. Okay, take care, Sarah. Yeah, I never. The only Morse code that I've done is it's kind of fun on using the interpret, and you can say something and interpret it on the internet to Morse code. That's kind of fun, and then create a title that way. Yeah, see, he's up to a mountain that just right or a hill. He's right at the base of the steep hill. So I know they have Starlink, but they're up the road just a little bit. And they're on the other side of the highway, looking south at the Starlink satellite. So they have a little bit of better angle or better view of the satellite than where he's at. I mean, it might be possible, but I still think if he can just get an internet service, a cell service there through with a tower to grab the service and bring it down to his house, I think that'd be his best option. I mean, I know that for me to get cell service on there, I had to climb up toward the top of that hill. like 120 a month now. I think you can get the. There was one. It was cheaper. And I think if you get the portable one, I think it's actually cheaper. The one that you get for your RVs and stuff. But I guess there's some drawbacks to that one too. Yeah, I wouldn't mind paying the $600 of equipment. I would not like the $120 a month bill. They're getting their prices up there along with Dish and all the others now. And I'd be, it's kind of nice from what I understand. It's still unlimited, but at what point do they start saying, okay, we're going to cap you on how much internet you can use? I mean, this guy doesn't even like TV. He doesn't really want. He doesn't even want internet on his property. He doesn't like TV. He doesn't like any of this stuff. But he needs to get a phone service, and he's starting to realize that. And he's realizing that it might take internet or whatever it takes to get it. But so whatever it is, he's spending it just strictly for the use of having a phone for his wife for these times when he needs to get a hold of her. So it seems kind of crazy to spend all that money for Starlink just so you can have a phone that's dependable for your wife. I do know that all through that country where he's at, I've done a lot of hunting up in the mountains all around there, and I do get cell service in a lot of different areas up through there with my Verizon phone. So I know that the cell service is around there. I know it's very much doable. It's just being able to get it delivered down to the draws down below. Even if that's a matter of putting a router with a hard wire that comes from the router up high and a hard wire that comes on into something down below. She's sure a good cook, though. Who was that? Was it seen somewhere? Somebody was saying that they gave their dishwasher a break and gave him the snow shovel. I think was that Tim that said that? That sounds like something that Tim would have said. Okay, Ted Nancy, don't work too hard. And the cop, it just sounds worse than it is. Yeah, it sounds like something Tim would say. Yeah, I did take a hike up to the back. Almost made it to the back of the property. I couldn't quite get to the very top there. I mean, I was beat. And that's a lot of that. What I was showing you wasn't even the steep part. I didn't even have the camera out for the steep parts much. Yeah, four snow machines leaning up outside this morning. What was their names? Were they grandkids? Manual start. Oh, shovel one, shovel two. Well, I tell you what, we got a lot of water coming off this mountain from all this ice that's thawing and melting into the ground now. The rivers are running full at maximum capacity. That freezing rain that we had was bad here. I mean, we get a lot of rains here, but this freezing rain that we had this year was quite bit more severe than what we typically get. I hadn't seen a freezing rain like this here um, since the mid '70s that I remember. And I would like to. I've thought about going on out, driving around, and getting firewood off the side of the road now. All this clearing that they've been doing on the road, there's plenty of wood. Just go out there; it's free for the taking. But I don't like cutting along the side of the roads anymore. I mean, the road traffic, we get a lot more road traffic than we did back 20, 30 years ago. And just to me, it just does not seem like a very safe way to go to get firewood. I don't know, on December 7th, the day of infamy. In the 90s, we used to have a lot more rain than what we have now. In the 90s, we would have, every year we'd have at least one major storm that was a major flood problem here throughout the valley, and we don't have near the flooding that we used to have. I mean, the farmlands all through the valley, they turn into great big lakes out there that you can water ski on, where they'd grow cross on out there. They would just turn into great big lakes. But now I haven't seen any of that happen for quite some time. Although I wouldn't doubt it this year that it with this thaw that we're having now, I wouldn't doubt if it's major flooding in the valley in a lot of places now. Yep, a good idea. Oh, I got the propane cook stove on in there that we're able to cook with, and I got the wood cook stove too, so we can always cook with that. Either one. The electric, we don't use electric cooking anymore, even though we have the electric range on in there. I use it more or less as a convenience for keeping the coffee hot when I don't have the fire going or something. I run the hose through the window to my 30,000 BTU infrared. So you only use 3%. Only use 3% of the tank in 4 days. That's not bad. And they're trying to outlaw propane. Can you believe that? Oh, these little 5 gallon propane bottles that you get for your RVs. One of those, unless I'm doing a bunch of continuous canning and stuff, 5 gallon propane will last me a month for a cook range. And I do a pressure canning with it about once a week. Pressure can up some more beans or some more soups or whatever. I mean, just not the type of pressure canning to store up for from the garden, but you make a. And we'd like to just pressure can up just enough to last us for 2 weeks of beans or 2 weeks of soups or whatever what we got. I mean, basically, what I end up doing is I put I put my beans on in a quart jar. Measure out the amount of beans, and I'll put some turkey or some chicken or some venison on in the jar with it, and I'll put my seasonings for it to basically when my jelly. So I'll can up a quart of several quarts of chili beans. Just so all I got to do is open, heat them up. Now I have all the meats already pre-canned up and stuff like that. I just grab a pint jar and whatever ones I want. I put a quart jar of the meats on in with the dry beans. And it works pretty good doing stuff like that. There, I don't have to make a year's supply of it. You probably could run a full two. But it'd probably seems to me like it'd still be best just filling the tanks up once a year. Would there's always I don't remember when it is, but there's always that one time of year when the propane is always rock bottom for the year. Just top off the tank, keep the tank full for that time. Is that the cheap time of year? I used to know when it was here, when it was the cheapest, but I haven't. My dad was always doing it, and he said it was something about the harvesting of it when they'd fill up the propane tanks. That I mean, there was a time when they'd fill because they at that time he said something about they would only harvest that propane really for during one season per year when those tanks would get full. Um, that's when he would. That's when he would. That was when the cheapest prices were, and then you could watch them slowly dwindle on down. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but they run a summer special. Yep. Mm. Last night, we didn't. None of our pipes froze. From all this, so I got everything thought on out, and actually we had pipes froze, yes, but I mean nothing broke. But last night my daughter come on and she's there's water flooding underneath my trailer. I got to check that out today. Apparently she did have something freeze and break. I had to shut off her water last night to her house. Yeah, Moose Knuckle was saying something about he ordered here just not too terribly long ago. He put in an order for propane, and he held off as long as he could, and then he put in his order for propane, and then a few days later, and he hadn't received his order yet. But then they issued a coupon or something on his fuel. After he put his order on in, he got something in the mail, something about a coupon of 50% off or whatever. I don't know what it was. So he called him up, says he wanted to use the coupon on that order. They said, "Oh no, we can. That order was placed beforehand. We can't do that." He says, "Okay, then cancel my order." So he had to cancel his order and reorder it again so we could use that coupon. So and that's been in the last month. That was with his company. I'm sure that's a deal to keep them going. The 20-pound bottles of some places for $9.95. Yeah, we're paying about $12 or $13 for a 20-pound bottles. Yeah, we could, Tim. We could. I could buy like 5 propane bottles, and I do have. I could fill up all five, and save myself maybe $2 or $3 per bottle, $15 per year. I just don't see the point of saving $15-$20 for a total year, but having that money tied up there for it. If I had a big propane tank where I was putting up 200 or 300 gallons, then yeah, it'd be well worth it like that there. But just for 5 or 6 of these bottles per year. Yeah, if you go to the propane dealer, yeah. I'm getting so much condensation from my breathing, it keeps on putting my cigarette out. You have a wet line in the tank. Well, I got to tell on myself. Speaking about gas, I've been eating quite. This time of year, I love chili beans. I eat a lot of chili beans this time of year. It just hits the spot. It's such a comfort food. Well, last night I crawled in bed, and Fajita, she has her spot on the corner of the bed that I let her get up onto. And last night I ripped that apart. She jumped up, gave me the dirtiest look, and jumped off the bed and left. It even ran her off. Holy, 1992 at Walmart. We get our propane now at Hoy's Hardware. It's an Ace hardware store. That's where we get ours at. And they had the bottles that you can do the exchange or bring your own bottles and fill them on up. I don't do the exchange. It costs a little bit more on the exchange. Dutch oven the dog. There you go. I should. Boy, she sure gave me a dirty look. Well, the ones that we have are the 20 pounders. They're a little bit taller. You know, they have the ones that are about the same height. They're a little bit only a little bit taller than they are wide. Then there's another one that's quite a bit taller, like a 7. I think it's called a 7 gallon. One's a 5 gallons, the other's a 7 gallon. Something like that. I don't know. By the way, Tim, it's my understanding that when a blanket is brand new, it's called a blanket. If you go to the store to buy one, and it's brand new, it's called a blanket. But if you go to a used place and they're selling these blankets, they call them Dutch ovens. So blankets are called Dutch ovens. From that, now that's my understanding. Is that true? Once they've been used, they're called a Dutch oven.
You ready to go?
Huh?
Because I'm going to be late.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to go, guys. We'll catch y'all
You
later.
can do that on the car.
Bye, y'all.